Crouse.
Which means, I guess, that it's not a dead language in any sense. I mean, the vocabulary is still evolving, I would imagine, and changed. Did the vocabulary evolve at all over the process of the shooting as well? Were you on set sort of guiding the actors through how to properly pronounce and perhaps creating new words and phrases as needed?
Wow. Very interesting. Yeah, well, the answer to all of that is yes.
Yes.
I was on set at times. There were times when I was actually on set for 12 and 13 hours. I couldn't be there all the time because, unfortunately, I have a day job.
Right, yeah.
But,
you have to work.
Yeah. Yeah. But whenever I could and whenever the language was being used, I was on set. I met with each of the actors ahead of time.
Right.
Maybe a couple of weeks before they were going to shoot a scene where they needed to speak Na'vi. And I gave them transcriptions of what they had to say, and also I constructed some MP3 files so they could download them onto their iPods or whatever, and practice. On the set, there were a few times when the lines changed. I mean, I thought that for a film of this scope, everything would be totally determined before anybody walked onto the set. But in fact, I discovered that there's a lot of creativity which takes place even on the spur of the moment. And there were moments of panic when people came up and said, "Oh, Paul, we need this line. We need to know how to say that." If I had the words and I had the grammatical rules, that's fine. But there were times when I had to say, "Give me a few minutes," and I sometimes had to coin some words. I can give you my most memorable example of that.
Please.
There was a time when Sam Worthington and James Cameron came up to me and said, "Paul, we've decided that Jake is going to be telling this story at this point in Na'vi, and it's about this predator animal that almost bit him on his big blue ass." So how do you say big blue butt in Na'vi? So I said, well, I had the word for big and I had the word for blue, but I did not have the word for butt. So I said, give me a few minutes. And I tried to come up with something good, and I tried it out on some people who were sitting around me, and some people liked one word, some people liked the other, but we decided that the word was im.
Right.
And so my big blue butt is Wea Ana Imatsao.
That's very cool. That's very cool.
Yeah.
The language, to me, I mean, it's very easy on the ear to hear, but was it difficult to make the actors say it believably, or I guess create the flow with the actors?
Exactly. Well, that actually is extremely important because you don't want them to sound as if they're simply reading words.
Yeah, they can't sound studied or mannered,
right.
I guess.
Right. And that was something that we worked on for sure. Where to put the emphasis on the sentence. When I gave them the written materials, I did have each word translated in small type under it, so that they could see that this particular word is important, and this particular word simply means it and is not important.
Right.
So make sure that you don't put emphasis in the wrong place. But I think the MP3 files helped a lot because I as someone said, I kind of Berlitzed it in a way. I broke it down into bits and pieces and phrases, and then put them together, and said it slowly and then said it fast, so that I tried to give them a sense of the overall flow of the sentence, and I think it worked out pretty well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, judging by the reaction of people to not only the movie but the language online, I'd say so. I mean, now beyond the film, I guess. Now, does the language have its own, or I guess do the Na'vi have their own writing system? Is there more to the language that has evolved past the life in the film?
Well, in answer to the question about the writing system, no. It's not a written language on Pandora.
Right.
But it is a written language on Earth.
Yeah.
And, of course, we have a consistent spelling system and system of orthography and so on. In terms of the community that has grown up in the past few months, people actually are using the language, and the language is continuing to develop. I, at this point, am getting sometimes long emails written to me entirely in the language. And that's something that I never thought that would happen. there are a few individuals who have gotten very, very adept at it. But I am in touch with representatives of the community. For example, there's something called the Lexical Expansion Project. I've been given some homework to do. I think 30 to 50 people worked on this project, and then there was sort of a steering committee, and then someone actually wrote it up. I now have a 79-page document representing the desires of the community for new vocabulary. The vocabulary right now is maybe a little over 1,000 words.
Right.
But you need a lot more than that if you're going to be able to use the language easily in a lot of different contexts. And so I now have A priority lists and words and B priority and so on. I just wish that I had more time to devote to that. But as much as I can, I'm doing.
Well, this must be a little bit beyond your wildest imagination. Not only what happened with the film, but what you've just described.
It really is. If you had told me, when back in 2005 that this is what it would develop into, I would say, I would ask what you've been drinking or perhaps smoking. but it's been extremely gratifying, astonishing, a little bit humbling. But it's remarkable how many people seem to be interested in the language. I'm not sure I understand it completely. I have a sense of why it's been so popular. I think for some people, it's a way of holding on to the world of Pandora.
Right.
It's a world that a lot of people find extremely attractive. There are people who have seen the movie 24 times. Mm-hmm. That may be a little obsessive, but for many people, using the language is a way of maintaining a connection to Pandora. Then there are people who are just very much into language and find, I'm pleased that they find this language interesting and challenging and intriguing and just want to be able to communicate in it.
Because the only other language to arise from pop culture in this way that I can think of is Klingon, and I guess that's sort of the gold standard of this sort of language, and Navi now I guess sits very close to that language. Well,
as you say, Klingon is the gold standard of constructed alien languages for film. It was constructed by a real linguist, Mark Okrand, who did an amazing job. It's an extremely complex language. Mm-hmm. It's complex in somewhat different ways from the way Navi is complex. Of course, that language has been around for, 25 years, something like that. So that started a long time ago. But I think it's fair to say that it took Klingon years to get to the point that Navi seems to be right now. And, of course, the reason is the Internet.
Right.
The fact that that a community can develop almost overnight and attract, very many people who are interacting and are sharing their materials and are supporting each other. So so that's, in practical terms, I think that's why the language has gotten to the point it is now. Right. And, I would certainly like to see it develop further, and what I can do to help, I'll certainly help. But interestingly, it's kind of no longer entirely mine.
Right.
And that's actually a good feeling.
Well, it's like, I guess, it's like any other language now where people have taken it and they're making it their own. They're creating slang, they're creating new words, they're keeping it alive. Yeah,
that's true. Of course, there has to be sort of, what shall I say? Well, for want of a better term, there has to be a desire, because a lot of people will come up with a lot of suggestions, and there has to be someone who will say, yeah, that's good, and that really doesn't fit into the language. So, for the time being, at least, that's me. So, people will come up with innovations along the lines of taking existing elements of the language and putting them together in creative ways.
Right.
No one is coming up with words on their own. That's entirely my domain at this point.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, Professor, that's our time. Thank you so much for taking a few minutes to chat with me. It was fascinating.
It's been a pleasure, Richard.
Thank you very much. Bye now.